You're in Vegas. You're promoting Impact Wrestling. We saw last night you're back on TV. Finally, it's been almost a year. We
I
haven't
know, man.
we haven't seen you in a while. How's it feeling actually being back? Not only in Impact Wrestling, but you returned to fans. Something you
Brother,
haven't seen in a long time.
but it was so crazy that I always joke around with like Impact Boys and other production people and everything, and I always tell them that like last year, whenever Impact signed me, it was probably the worst investment they ever made, just because I literally did like a handful of shows with them, man, and then we talked out a deal, which I was happy with, they were happy with. I literally signed it, and then a few hours later, Bound for Glory, I got hurt. And it was just done. And I'm just like, oh shit, you gotta be kidding me. But no, it felt wonderful being back, man, because it's been a long road this last year with just how the world is today, and with me having 5 surgeries in one. So it was a roller coaster of hell for me this year, but hard work pays off, and I'm just blessed and glad that I had a good support team with me that helped me through everything, or I would have lost my damn mind.
Yeah, and it's good to see you back. You just mentioned you had a multitude of injuries. I think initially people just thought, all right, you were hurt in the match, but you had several things repaired at once. Can you just talk a little bit about how that all piled up, how you reached the decision? Because you were hurt at Bound for Glory in October, and then you finally had surgery in March. Can you just talk a little bit about figuring all of that out?
Yeah, so I got hurt at Bound for Glory, and then next thing you know, I went to Skyway Hospital, I think it's the name of it there, and went there, and they literally told me I just had a hernia. They're like, oh, you have a hernia, you'll be back in a month. I'm like, well, shoot, okay, well, easy. But with them just saying, oh, that's a hernia, it turned out to be, yeah, well, why is my whole leg turning every color of the rainbow, and now it's all black and brown and purple? I mean, my whole left leg was just like, it looked like I got frostbite and it was about to fall off.
Oh, man.
So, and they told me to take a month off. So I just was chilling at the house for a month, but it just kept getting worse. So I went to a hernia specialist. One of our friends in life group works at a hospital, and she took me to the hernia specialist. And the hernia specialist was like, yeah, you got a hernia, but you have your rectus muscle is ripped also. So I was like, well, okay. He was like, and your hernia is a sports hernia, so I don't fix those. You need to find a hernia doctor that would fix it. So I'm just like, well, hell, and he doesn't even do, retina scanners or nothing. So he was just a wash for me. So then I went to another doctor, and then with all this COVID stuff going on and everything, it just takes longer for you to get in. And it was like right around Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. So it was just a lot of shit was going on. So after 3 doctors, and finally I got to see Dr. Novick in Duke, and he literally got an MRI, and he told me, he was like, man, kid, he was like, you got 2 hernias, one on the left side of your pelvic bone and one on the right side of your pelvic bone. He was like, your rectus muscle is completely ripped off the bone. Your abductor muscle is shredded. And then he said I had pretty much knifed. He says he can stick 3 fingers through the holes that were in my lower abdomen area.
Oh, nice.
To where he had to get 3 pieces of mesh to put in my lower abdomen region, just to keep that together. So pretty much he said there was so much scar tissue in there and all that stuff to where it was one of those things where I had injuries years before, but just never knew, never felt it, never nothing. And then I guess me getting in there, hitting my neck breaker and doing the leg lariat stuff I've done over the years, it was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
That's like
Exactly. Listen,
insane.
you
Like
don't even know what to say.
I'm at a loss for words. And
Brother, I tell everyone what I just told you, and I say it pretty much how the doctor tells me. Because he's like, all right, you have 2 hernias, sports hernia on the left, and then there's another name. Do you know there's like 10 different names of hernias?
Nope.
There's so many hernias.
Everybody thinks it's just one, right?
No, there's different shapes and ways that it goes. And I didn't know this crap.
Yeah, I thought it was just hernia as a hernia, right?
There you go. Me too. Well, it's not. There's different ways you got to do them. So I had 2 different types on my pubic bone. Rectus muscle completely gone. Still don't have it. Abductor muscle had to get resutured back. And then I have 3 pieces of mesh in my lower abdomen wall just to hold my shit together.
Glad you're back. I'm glad that's past you. Again, like that's crazy that, you know, you it's just a hernia and then all of this other stuff. But, you know, it's worth pointing out that you competed in the match at Bound for Glory, and then you still did a signing. Like you did the pop-up store for a virtual signing. Like it was either the next night or 2 nights later, and you were just like, you know, I'm hurting a little bit. Like,
yes. In my mind, it was one of those things where like, it's just a hernia. But just like the way I was walking, like I was walking like I was 89 and just got in a car wreck, like baby steps, bro, just like sliding my feet. Like it was pitiful. And everyone's like, damn, hernias do that? I'm like, yep, I guess so, man. Yep. You know, and I'm just trying to move about.
You're 100% ready to go, right? Like you're good to go, or
no, I'm good to go, baby. Okay. I don't think I'll ever be 100% again.
Okay, but I mean,
but my 75% is better than most guys' 100, so I'll take it.
But are you noticing, like, as you're training, like anything that is different about the way you're training, or you know what I mean? Like, are you like, oh man, I really, you know, when you look back on things, like, oh, maybe this was that problem back then. Now I don't have to worry about it so much anymore.
Well, my whole training is like completely different than I've ever done. Mm-hmm. I've been going to Architect Sports down in Charlotte, Pineville area, and I have these 2 girls, Courtney and Katie, man, and they put me through it. They literally put me back together. Like I owe them for everything. If I didn't have them, I'd probably still be out. But they literally had patience with me and, you know, just took me in and was like, come on, man, let's fix you. Let's go. And I mean, I'm blessed to have both of them. And then it's like, you know, with my wife at home helping me out, my 2 little girls being there for me, it's like, I'm getting a little emotional. But it's like, you know, if you have a good group of people behind you, supporting you, you can do great things. And what was crazy is that the doctor just kept telling me, you know, I hope you can come back. I don't know. Like, I hope. And I'm just like, bro, stop saying hope, because I'm going to make it happen. You know, like, it's going to happen. Like, there ain't no hope, man. I'm 38. I can go another 10 years if I want to. But, like, you know, I started having to think about a lot of shit, you know, and then I just wouldn't quit, you know? Just couldn't quit.
Yeah. And it's good to see you have that, you know, positive mindset. You're back. You did what you set out to do. As I said, we saw you on TV last night. Looks like you were expecting a different reception from your old friend Rhino. He's been getting into it with Violent by Design, and they gave him an ultimatum. You know, it looks like you're back to help your friend. And he kind of walked out on everybody. So, what do you think about that? Did you think it was just going to be, hey, he's glad to see you, things are back?
No, it wasn't that. Well, a little. I was hoping for that. Let me just say that. You know, I was hoping for that, but I haven't talked to him since like 2 months since my injury. So it's been nearly, you know, 8 months since I've talked to him. So it's one of those things where, like, I was hoping if he would see me, it would be like, oh, shoot, there's my brother, you know? But I didn't get that. So I really, man, I don't know where his head is. I couldn't tell you. I just know that I'm the type of guy that if I love a dude and he's one of my best friends, like a brother, I'm going to do whatever I can to help him out and try to be there for him, even if you don't want me to be. Because, you know, when you go through hard times, you push the ones that love you the most away from you a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So that's where, like, I don't know where his mindset is. I just know that I'm back and I'm going to try to get my buddy back. And I don't like the fact that Eric Young's been brainwashing him and yelling at him and treating him like a little scalded dog. So it kind of pisses me off. And now that I am back and I can say, hey, I don't like this crap, I'm going to say it. And I've always been that type of guy that, like, I've never been scared of anyone. I might not whoop your ass, but you're going to feel it the next day. But I'm not scared of VBD. I'm not going to let their games get to me like they have for Rhino. I just hope that I could just somehow let him see the light again, take the wool from his eyes.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you first joined Impact, you had a playful, I don't want to say comedy, but, you had fun with your arrival. There was the Heath for Impact campaign, the free agent stuff, stuff that people are used to, similar in tone from your earlier work. Almost immediately, like you came back last night and seems like you're a lot more serious. Some people would argue that the tone calls for it, with Violent by Design and the way that they're presented. But when you were first released by WWE, you talked about, finding your passion again and wanting to be a performer seen in a certain light. You posted a promo about waking up for your nightmare and just really taking a different approach. Is the way you're coming back to Impact, like right now, October 2021, are you like trying to bridge that gap between what...
Brother, I am taking it at the mindset that I am right now. Like, I'm going to be me now. Like, I'm going to be who I am, who I really am, and not who I have to play to be. Good thing about it, Impact is on board for it. And if there's anything that I can say, that I can be me better than anybody else. So I'm looking at it as, yes, I'm funny. Yes, I like to crack up and have a good time, but that's just me. That is just me, and that's how I've always been. I was the class clown. But back then, even now, if you want to run your mouth, or you want to talk junk, like, step out. Let's try it. Let's see what you got, So that's the way I'm looking at everything now. Like, I'm just going to go into my situation that way that I would outside of wrestling. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I just, I noticed a tonal shift, and I was wondering if, and I've talked to, I'll use the example, Matt Raywalt. When he was Aiden English and left, he talked about this tortured artist character and taking a little more serious approach. And you're seeing that now, like as soon as, or as recent as this week. And it's something he had in mind for himself and waited for the right opportunity to introduce it. And I was just wondering if that's a similar approach you're taking, or if this is just completely new, like, you had this time off and now you have a fresh start to actually, change.
I kind of feel like this is like, yes, it's totally for the fresh start, like everyone loves a fresh start. Like that's when you can come back and, take the wheel by your own hands instead of letting someone else drive the car for you.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, and that's the way I am looking at it, because like I am coming back. Because, like, I do feel new. I do feel like a new person, new guy, just because, man, I took a year off and I went through some shit. So I'm looking at it as a new opportunity for me to show everyone who I really want to be and who I really am. And I just feel like I'm just going to do my best to portray that more and just let it flow naturally instead of rehearse.
Hmm. And I'll get you out on this. People are used to you having a last name. You're using a mononym in Impact Wrestling. I think people thought maybe you would adapt a last name after a while, but you're still using Heath.
But why is it such a big deal?
I'm curious. Like, it sounds like you're embracing it. What do you think about the people that still want a last name?
Well, I just think they need to get over that shit. It's not up to them. You know what? It's not up to you. It's not up to you guys. Y'all say enough shit out there anyway.
Cheer and boo, but don't pick my name.
About how I'm getting old and I can't work no more or something. And then, you know what? That's a lie too, assholes. You know, so why can't I have this one name? What about Edge? Edge has one name. Christian has one name. My goodness. I can just be Heath. It's easy to chant. Heath, 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 Heath. And I'll get behind it.
All right.
I don't have to have a last name.
If you don't get behind that pitch, I don't know what's going to get you behind it. But Heath, that's it. Just Heath. It's good to see you back.
Heath, man.
It's good to see you back on TV. I hope things work out with Rhino, and I look forward to seeing you get back in the ring. Right? He is.
You hear that? Rhino's one name. Why don't they tell them to tell Rhino to get a last name?
I don't want to tell. Hopefully it works out, but the evidence is in your favor. Thanks very much for your time today, man. Looking forward to seeing you back in the ring.
All right, my man. Thank you. It was fun.